Hey guys, welcome to TechWake TV, and today I want to talk about the new Sonos Roam. Although I don't think it's some earth-shattering speaker, I do think it's worthwhile to at least talk about. The Sonos Roam is a new portable speaker from Sonos that is a little bit smaller and less expensive than the Sonos Move. The Sonos Move is probably half again as big as the Sonos One, and it sits on a stand that charges continuously, and then when you pull it off the stand, it has about 10 hours of playtime. It's kind of heavy, but it sounds awesome. That's the one good thing about the Sonos Move. So I would say the Sonos Move portability is probably best for kind of like around the house. If you want to do a garage project, or if you want to sit on the back deck and hang out with some friends, it would come in handy. But I don't think the Sonos Move is the best portable speaker that they make from the standpoint of portability, durability, and those types of things. But I will say that if you wanted to like go to the beach and you wanted to jam with like 8 or 10 people in a crowd with, about a 20 or 30 foot listening radius, you probably would be best served with the Sonos Move because the Sonos Roam is kind of small. This is the Sonos Roam right here. It's kind of a triangulated shape. It's not huge and it is not super loud. This is probably one of the Sonos speakers that I liked the least when I first started listening to it because it was very underwhelming in my opinion. But then again, all these small speakers are. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't sound bad. Matter of fact, the longer I listened to it, and we'll talk about that in a minute, the better I thought it started to sound. But it just didn't have that impact that you get, or that surprise you get from the sound out of the One or the Five or the Move or any of the other speakers. They always seem to surprise me how much volume and range and separation they can get with their audio frequencies and the sounds that come out of them with very little space. But the Sonos Roam should not be overlooked. Now, there's a competitor that is the JBL Charge 5. That's a very good speaker, and from what I understand, it sounds great. I haven't listened to it. At first inspection, you might say the JBL would be the way to go. It seems to be tougher. It probably gets a little bit better in the bass category, although some people say that it isn't that much better. And it has a 20 hours of playtime, whereas the Sonos is rated for 10 hours. And I'd say both of those are probably going to be less than what they rate by 20%, just because we're probably going to turn it up louder than what they tested it at. There's a lot of things that the Sonos Roam can do that the JBL Charge 5 can't do. And it's worth noting and mentioning these things, at least if you're considering a really ultra small speaker. So the size is really convenient. I mean, it's backpackable. You could just throw it in your backpack. You could almost put it in a pocket. It's a little bit large for, maybe a big jacket pocket or something like that. Easily in a purse. So it's really easy to take around with you. But the thing is about Sonos, and once you've had Sonos in your home and you've got more than 3 or 4 speakers, you start to understand the ecosystem of Sonos and how it works. And a lot of people that don't have Sonos really don't get it, and they seem to not care, but I don't think they really know how convenient it is to have some of these speakers in your home and how they work. This speaker has features that other Sonos speakers don't have, and one of which is the way the play pause button operates. So on this, when you're playing music, you just press play and it plays. Okay. You press it again and it stops. But you can press play and then you double press and it skips track. If you triple press, it goes back. 1, 2, 3. So you can pause the music there. And it also has voice command. It'll work with Google, and it'll also work with Alexa. Oops, sorry about that, guys. So I wanted to go over a few of the features. First of all, this has the Wi-Fi integration, whereas the JBL I don't think is going to have that. So this can go into your home. It will lock into your Sonos system via Wi-Fi, and you can team this up with different speakers in the house. So you could play whatever music you want on one speaker, on 2 speakers, on all the speakers. You can really dial in your listening by putting the sound where you want it to be. The other thing that it has is, in addition to the Wi-Fi ecosystem for the Sonos, it has Bluetooth. So this button on the back, all you have to do is push and hold this button, and it will click into Bluetooth mode. Then you can hook your phone or somebody else's phone into it. So it can become like the camping speaker, the boating speaker, or whatever. Which, mentioning boating, it is IP67, so it's waterproof up to 3 meters for 30 minutes. Is that what that is? Another really cool feature about the Sonos is, let's say you're outside on your deck or listening to music outside in your garage, and you come in the house and you want to push this music to one of the other speakers in the home. You can push and hold this play button, and you hold it, I think, for 3 seconds, and it'll transfer the music from the Sonos that's in your hand, the Roam, to one of the Sonos speakers, the very next closest Sonos speaker. So if you walk in your living room and you're closest to the living room speaker, push and hold this button, it's going to take whatever's playing on this and push it over to that speaker. And I think if you push and hold for longer, it'll actually join the two. It'll make the Sonos and the next nearest speaker play the same music. Pretty cool. It's drop resistant, so it's a little more tough. It's got some rubber on the bottom, rubber on the top, so that's going to hold up nicely. It has 10 hours of playtime, which I think is fine for a speaker of this size. Maybe a little bit more time would be better, but it's probably going to run at a mid-volume for about 10 hours, which is usually going to be fine for most people. And it sits on a desk. It has a USB 3 port on the back here, and it plugs in, and you can leave it plugged in and charged at all times, and you can just pop that cable out and walk away with it. And the nice thing is the USB 3, that's a fairly universal charging type port now, so you're going to find those pretty much everywhere you go. It has microphones that will listen to its surroundings, and it'll adjust its sound. And I can actually say that I can tell a difference. When you set this thing, it can lay either on its side. You can see here it has some dimples on the bottom of the unit, and it will lay on a table flat like this, or you can stand it straight up and down. And you can have your controls up here. And I can tell a difference in sound when I do that. I find that you can get this a little bit better bass loaded if you kind of stick it, like I have a microwave in the corner of my kitchen, so the corner loads the bass a little bit. You get it a little closer to a wall, it does better. So where you position this thing matters, but it will adjust its frequency. And the one thing I'll say about this speaker that's different than my daughter's Bose, and like I have this, hold on one sec. I have this like really hunkin' Sony speaker that looks like it should sound great. It sounds like complete trash. I mean, the frequency response, the voices are way too subdued. The bass is overdriven. It's almost like they didn't EQ the thing at all. But the one thing the Sonos does is it has a very natural, pure, clean, and lean mid-range. That's really important, and you don't realize it. The vocals are intense. They really sound nice. The only thing you're going to miss with the speaker is bass, and it's just not big enough to crank the bass. It's not bad. I mean, it's not going to be like, oh, it sounds horrible. You're just going to say, oh, I really wish I had a little bass. But for a portable speaker that can play music that sounds way better than your phone, this is still something to consider. It's not cheap. It's $170, but the Charge 5 by JBL is $160, I believe, or $150. So they're in the same price range, and I think the feature set on this, in my opinion, at least for me, because I already have the Sonos ecosystem, far outweighs the value of maybe just a little bit better bass or longer playtime of the other speaker. But if you don't have any Sonos speakers in your house and you're just looking for a portable speaker to play Bluetooth when you go camping or boating, you might want to look at the Charge 5. I give this like a, if the Play 5 on Sonos is a 10 out of 10 speaker because I think it's just fantastic, or the new Arc Play Bar is a 10 out of 10, this is probably going to pull like a 7 for me. It's not going to be up there, maybe even a 6.5. It really just needs, if they would have put 20% more size, they would have gotten probably 20% more battery and 20% more bass, but it's just so small that it's really hard for it to bring the extra low end that it needs. And I don't mean to beat it up too bad about that. I don't want you to go away from this going, I'm definitely not buying the Sonos because it doesn't sound good. It sounds great. It just doesn't have tons of bass. So if you're looking for a real thumper, you might want to go somewhere else. But if you're looking for a good speaker that'll last for 10 hours, you can get wet in the rain, drop it in the water, take it camping, bop it around. It beats, and if you don't want the extra size of the Move. Now, if you can afford the size of the Move and you want to jam, the Move's the way to go. It's easy. It's a no-brainer. But that's $399, so that's not cheap either. The problem, I think, mostly with Sonos is the point of entry is so expensive, most people shy away from it. But once you get into it and you start tying this stuff together in your house, you're going to start seeing the beauty of Sonos and how it works. So check this out. They'll probably have them out on shelves soon, so you can go to the store and listen to them for yourself. Try before you buy. But they were hard to come by. It took me a couple of months to get this. I went on the pre-order list, and it took me a while to pick it up. And it's pretty cool. Hey, Alexa, play Spotify.
Here's Spotify.
You guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.